We've survived yet another day of sideways, another 24 hours, and what's another 48 hours on top of that as we do get prepared for CPI prints coming out, I believe, on Thursday? Yeah, Thursday it should be. Yeah, that's going to be the 10th. So yes, it is indeed Thursday, and I expect that we're going to be playing a little bit more sideways until then, but there are a few more major things to be speaking of, a few more wheels kind of turn in the background. In fact, one of the major memes has actually fired off as of recently. I wanted to call that up and then also cover up a setup as well. And other than that, I want to welcome you back to the Krown Crypto channel. It's a nice little Tuesday morning. It's windy as hell outside. There's apparently a major storm going on right now, but never mind that. We got some non-stormy price action going on in Bitcoin over here. So let's just jump right into the content of the day. I'll start off with the meme of the day, which is the 3-day time frame golden cross, but I'm sure you've probably seen it coming around social media. And what essentially is it? It is the 50 and 200 simple moving averages crossing in an upside fashion, meaning that the lower period crosses above the higher period. My voice is failing me right now, but in this case, that's going to be the green above the blue. Now, this has happened a few other times in Bitcoin's history. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Well, I included a death cross right here. So let's actually just go over the golden crosses in this case. And you can see 3 prior times basically. And of those 3 times, well, they have been a generally good signal for long-term upside. However, as you can see, just because it does cross the upside doesn't mean that Bitcoin gets sent to the moon and beyond. In fact, that is very obvious over here in the most recent cross in 2019, where Bitcoin essentially put in highs around that cross, but long-term did set in the trend. Yes, we did have a bit of a, you might call this a black swan over here for the old Rona dump, but there is something to be gained from this no matter which way you do cut it. So first things first, one thing that stands out about this particular cross is that price action is essentially consolidating right around the cross as it happens. That is usually a good sign that things do probably put in a low somewhere around there. And to be fair, you know, on this channel, we have been having a little bit more of a bearish twist for the past week, looking for some short-term downside. Bitcoin's had plenty of chances to break to the downside. And we even saw another move to the downside yesterday about what was it, like 28,500 or so. But ultimately, these chances have been not really taken. And as long as Bitcoin is above these major moving averages right here, you know, that is going to be a signal that this very well could be the next major low. If we go back to the prior example before 2019, we'd go over here to 2016. And this one, a lot more similar to the one that we're currently dealing with, where Bitcoin puts in a nice move out of the accumulation lows off of the macro low over here and spends a lot of time. In this case, let me actually measure it out. It's like, how exactly would you define this? But about 30 days in this very tight range right here. And overall, I mean, let's actually see the overall range. Jesus Christ, man, this one really honestly goes on for like half of a year. Could you imagine half of a year going sideways between like 32,000 and 28,000? It wouldn't be out of the ordinary. I mean, it has happened in the past, to be fair. But ultimately, yes, you know, you can see price action essentially consolidating right above these major moving averages as they do cross. And then more importantly, you can see on this particular one, there is no closures. There's really no even test below that green moving average, the 50 simple moving average in this case. So kind of gathering that, what essentially would I be saying about this? Well, as long as Bitcoin is above the green moving average, which is currently hovering above our 28,400-ish region as of right now, you know, that could be used as a base in period. If Bitcoin starts to lose it, I would be looking for a quick move down to wherever the 200 simple moving average is at that time. It is currently moving down. It is still moving down below about 27,700 or so, and will continue to move down actually for quite some time. It's had its negative slope for you know, over a year actually, so that's not going to be done anytime soon. But completely depends upon if and when Bitcoin actually breaks below that 50 simple. If it doesn't, that can essentially be used as a nice little governor for, upside bases essentially, and actually worked the whole way through over here in 2016, as you can see, as Bitcoin essentially rode it all the way up to 20,000 bucks. And when it broke it, that was party over. Similar thing over here actually as well in 2012. We didn't necessarily actually have the cross in this case. I'm just kind of extrapolating because obviously Bitcoin didn't have enough price action history to really put in one at this particular moment. But I expect that if we did have more, it would have been right around there. And same thing, rode the 50 the whole way up, and well, the rest is history. So in this case, I would be saying that you know, because of the way that Bitcoin's acted in the past week now, we're about at my 10-day marker that I was tweeting out, almost 10 days ago now, that if Bitcoin fails to move to the downside, probably is going to shift in favor of the upside. Well, I'll start to say that that's starting to come true as of right now. I'd still give it maybe another couple days. Obviously, with CPI coming out on Thursday, that's going to be a major driver, so that can massively help or deny that particular case. But now there's a very obvious way of of managing that and what's it called and quantifying that, more importantly. Anyways, moving on now, I do want to go back into this chart. So yesterday and the day prior, basically over the weekend, we were looking at short-term downside based off of the 12-hour hidden bearish divergence. Again, we did see a short-term downside move, Bitcoin putting this wick down here, but no major breakages, no major continuation. So again, it's like there's another chance to break, didn't really take it. Doesn't mean that it's over just yet. Again, I'd still probably give another 2 days. I know I keep on, extending it a little bit more, but in this case, just because CPI coming out on Thursday is going to massively influence price, most likely. I think that is warranted, just as a bit of a, cause for caution. But for right now, so far so good. In fact, might even not there just yet, but might put in another drive of bullish divergence come off this last low, which yes, would resolve that last drive of hidden bearish divergence. So it'd essentially be neutral at that point. Still looking at the overall same, areas to be fair, which makes it very, very, uneventful. But putting that into perspective, we can come back to another particular setup that we did have coming in from, I believe it was last week we identified this one. Maybe it was, last week we identified this one. 12-hour Joule setup, very, very simplistic one right here. Basically, anytime that the 12-hour Joule turns white below about 38 in this case, while PMARP is below 40 percentile simultaneously, that has initiated a setup, and that setup has led to just over 68% of the time a nice upside move. So going back into it right here, again, this one fired off basically where Bitcoin is at right now, a little bit lower actually, 29,200. Bitcoin just continues to go sideways at this region. It has not been, it has neither been confirmed nor denied, but more importantly, not denied. And so when I go back into the strategy tester, I want to remind myself what the average amount of time these winning trades take versus losing trades. On the winning, side, about 10.5 days. On the losing side, about just under 20 days. So how far are we now? All right, so from there to there, actually 11.5 days. So this one is starting to get a little bit further away from what we do expect on the winning side. That means that if this one is going to eventually be a winner, we'd really want to see this one move in the next few days. The closer and closer that it gets to about 20 days out, which will be in another 9 days or so, or 8.5 days or so, the more and more likely this one will be a failure, meaning that downside will emerge, and we can expect, some pretty nasty falling apart of price action. But for right now, still favors the upside actually. In fact, the 12-hour Joule even just had another base and is getting potentially another upside signature right here. If it can confirm this light blue cyan color at the end of this next period in 6 hours, 13 minutes, and 44 seconds and counting. Anyways, moving on now, I do want to get into HPDR ranges as always. I think it's just really, really good to go through these. And what do you know? It's fucking unchanged, as you'd probably guess. Bottom side of the current range still coming in at low $28,000, around that 50 simple, around the 200 simple that we looked at earlier on the 3-day time frame, and more importantly, the average of the range still coming in around 29,550, meaning that if Bitcoin can close back above 29,550, that'd be a good early warning signal. Again, closing basis, good early warning signal that the BULAs do pull through here, at least for another move back above $30,000. And then I'd say, it's game on yet again for the BULAs, which with likely big upside continuation, if Bitcoin can start to close back above about 30,450, 30,500 or so. Anyways, going through stochastic momentum, again, we have seen what appears to be almost a full-on reset. The 2-day time frame is now once again pointed to the upside. I'd want to see still a closure of a closure, but it will be closing again tonight, and any sort of a closure above $29,066, which it's currently trading about $200 above, will force that cross the upside. So again, it's like, if there is a downside move, I don't think it's going to be that severe. Still that low $28,000 number is kind of the number that I'd be looking at first as a best case scenario. And then below that, you got 26.9 or so. And on this first one right here, I mean, obviously still want to play it by ear, and still Thursday is going to be a big influence, obviously. But things are starting to turn back around in the Bulaw's favor. Daily time frame obviously also going to be up as well, as long as Bitcoin's above essentially that same pivot, 29,000 and change. 12-hour time frame is also going to be up, even writing this regression over here, which I won't even bother drawing, but same number, 29,000 and 80. 6-hour time frame also going to be showing upside above 28,930. 4-hour time frame also going to be showing upside above 28,900, and hourly is going to be technically up, but will flip down below 29,250. So we've seen everything, have a bit of a reset. So the Bulaws have a bit of the ball in their court, I would say, coming into this event on Thursday. So I hope the pivots are clear in that case. Again, many chances to break down over here. Just not following through on that one. So in this case, a little bit more sideways, probably going to favor the Bulaws. If we get to let's say next week, middle of next week, and Bitcoin still doesn't move to the upside, at that point, statistics probably going to favor the downside yet again. So you can see how the sides flip-flop over time. And, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So it's boring times in Bitcoin land, boring times in cryptocurrency land, but things do happen. And I suspect that based off of just the overall compression of volatility, we're probably going to be looking at one of the bigger moves that we've seen in the past years. I mean, this is the lowest weekly volatility we've seen, since March of 2022, and this one's actually lower. So that's the only one that's really realistically comparable, and that was preceding a pretty nasty markdown move, 60% overall, pretty fucking bad. But in this case, well, we shall see. We shall see. And I'll leave it right there. I think that's a good place to be leaving it off. As always, want to wish you the best. I do want to quickly shill the free shill for the Jewel Light. You can still get it for free for the first 30 days if you follow the directions in the link in the description below. And then because I forgot to mention it over here with the setup and whatnot, if you're looking to set up, some sort of automation features like this, that would be the Krown Quant automation. Comes with the Quant program as well. And basically you can do this. You can formulate all sorts of different strategies that you want, and you can even automate it if you so desire, assuming that you can actually use the exchanges that are supported. All right, sweet. There we go. Take care. Much love, and see you hopefully. I almost said Friday. Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Tomorrow. Whatever tomorrow is. That one.